Next we have another 4-drop Piloted Shredder. This is a 4/4/3 mech. Death Rattle, summon a random 2-cost minion. So this is basically a bigger Harvest Golem, right? With a bit more variability. I had this card in Arena, it was great. Just as great as Harvest Golem, because it sticks around, it's sticky, and its stats are alright. Wouldn't it be better as... I think it almost wouldn't be better as a 3/4, because it doesn't let you trade with other 4-drops. So its stats are good, it's right in the middle of it, isn't it? Because it trades with 3-drops, but it trades up with 4-drops. Like Dark Eye and what have you. So I think its stats are alright. 4/4 would obviously better, 4/4/4. Now its Death Rattle is interesting. Now you could get a Knife Juggler out of it, which is amazing. Or you could get a... what is it? The Gnomish Engineer. There are 2 for 1/1 give a card, but you don't get a card because it's not played from hand. So it's either great or crap. Depends. You can also get like a charge minion and charge in the face. I think you can get a legendary too. So you can get like Blood Mage Salnath, which could be great if you happen to have a spell in hand or something. Overall, this is a really good card. It'll be played in mech decks. I don't think it'll be played in non-mech decks, simply because there's better 4-drops out there. But you never know, it might be good enough. You do see Harvest Golem being played in control decks. It'll probably be played in mid-range decks and control decks. It won't be played in aggro decks. It's simply too high cost, I would guess, at any rate. So yeah, and Arena, it's great. Yeah, it's really good. Not as good as Mechanical Yeti, but well, no, it's not as good, but it's close. As good as Harvest Golem, I'd say. Maybe slightly worse. Alright, next we have Antique Healbot, 5-cost, 3/3. Battlecry, restore 8 health to your hero mech. Now we've gotten some mixed reviews of this card from others. Its stats are abysmal, and some people see it as simply being way too slow. The thing about this card is that it gives the ability for control, like a control template from classes that cannot heal themselves. So, say Rogue, or Hunter and Rogue can now maybe be control-ish with this card, especially with mech decks. There could be a control mech Rogue deck, because it gives healing, and that means it gives you the ability to stick around long enough to stay alive. Some people have said that why not just play a Sludge Belcher? It practically gives you like 7 health instead. That's true, but even though a taunt technically gives you more health, it doesn't really, because there's always silence, there's always spells and stuff, so this actually gives you more health, and gives you a buttload of it. And the 3/3 is just icing on top. The mech thing means that it'll be played in mech decks, maybe even outside of mech decks. It's really hard to say. I would definitely consider at least experimenting with it, just to see if it doesn't work, because I know from playing Paladin how vital health and healing is. It can give you the extra push. It can make you wear down your opponent. You know, they rush and push you down to kill you. You get down to like 5 health, and they run out of steam, but that doesn't matter because they can kill you anyway. You play this, suddenly you're up to 13 health, and that's enough health to push back and win the game without the hunter smacking you to death, type thing. So yeah, Antique Healbot, I think, is going to be good. I think it's going to be decent. I definitely think people are going to at least try it out, especially since it's just a common. Whether or not it turns out to be great or horrible is another thing entirely. We shall see. Definitely it'll be running mech decks, maybe in non-mech decks. In Arena, it's pretty bad, because stats are much more important, and health and healing is much less important. It's not the worst card ever, but it's definitely not amazing. It's probably only good if you've got other mechs to combo with it. But yeah, not amazing by any means. Okay, so Salty Dog. This is one of the pirates we were talking about earlier. It's a 5-cost 7/4 pirate, no text. It's not a very good card. Trades with 3 drops, sometimes with 4 drops. It is a butt ton of damage, however. So, if you're running a pirate deck, you will play this card. I mean, if you could get this out with a pirate captain, it becomes a 9/6, which is insane. But it does cost 8 mana and 2 cards. But I mean, it's not god awful. It's not disgustingly bad. You do get 5/4/4s after all. I think it's just the disparity between attack and health. Just automatically, subconsciously, I'm like, this is not a good card. But could be wrong. It's only going to be played in pirate decks, of course, and so whether pirate decks are good or not will cement whether this is a good or bad card. By the way, the Captain's Parrot, sorry, so I should say, which is the legendary you get. It's a legendary, isn't it? No, I think it's actually an epic or common. Anyway, you get it if you have all the other pirates. This does not include this. That does not include this pirate, nor does it include the ship's cannon or the rogue. So you don't need to get this one to get that thing. I've been told. So yeah. Last of the common cards, we have Force Tank Max in all capitals. It's a 8 mana 7/7 mech with Divine Shield. This card is basically the poor man's late game. A lot of the time, like I touched on one of my previous videos, you cannot run control decks as a new player or as a free-to-play player, at least not at the start, simply because they cost so much dust and so much gold. You have to buy all the packs and then eventually get your Ragnaros and such, or your Tyrion or what have you. Actually, Control Paladin is one of the few decks which only needs like 1 legendary. You only need Tyrion, so it's one of the cheaper decks, which is what makes it a good control deck to play around with. At least that's what I think. But I do play like control Paladin, so I can't really say that. But yeah, so this one gives you the opportunity to have some late game. So you might see some free-to-play, or not free-to-play, but cheap control mech decks with this at its helm. You know, in an actual, tournament or somewhere where you have all the cards, this card is not very good, because the stats is very good. You can have a Rag instead, or I guess your Sarah. Well, that's 9 mana, but yeah, cards like that. Actual late game finisher. Divine Shield isn't that good, I guess. The stats are mediocre. It's the same as the Siege Golem, whatever it's called, except for 1 mana more. It is a mech, however, and you probably see play in control mechs, in control mech decks. In Arena, this card is decent. It's good. It's better than War Golem. I've played against people with it. I had one person actually give it the Fairy Dragon effect, so it couldn't be affected by spells, thanks to the Wii Spell Stopper minion, which gives adjacent minions the Fairy Dragon effect. And it was awful because I had 3 sheeps in hand and could not sheep the freaking Force Tank, so I took an extra 7 damage, and so died because I couldn't deal enough damage to the enemy before I got squished. So yeah, it'll be okay in Arena. Quite good. There will be certainly worse minions, but there will also be better. If you can get a legendary, then you're good. If you can't get much late game, then this is a solid pick. I think it's very good. Solid, definitely. Alright, so now we are on to the rare cards. We are looking at the Target Dummy. This is a 0-cost 0/2 mech with Taunt. could be see some play in mech decks. Because if there's 0 cost, it means that you can play it on the fly without losing mana. But it's even in mech decks, I don't think it's very good. You have to be able to buff it up. And I'm sure there are buff targets, but it's just the stats are so low, and you know, it just is so squishy and it does nothing. So I'm not impressed by this card, I have to say. I think people will try it out and realise that it's pretty bad. Arena it's even worse, because there's no way to taunt it, or to buff it, I mean. So it's basically like a shield bearer, except for worse. I don't think even, you know, like Zoo will run this, because it just dies to everything. You know, 2 pings with a fireball and it's gone. Fire blast, I should say. Yeah, not too impressive. And then we have No Machine Experimenter, which is even less impressive than Target Dummy. It's a 3 cost, 3/2 battle cry, draw a card. If it's a minion that you draw, transform it into a chicken. Say goodbye to all your minions. I guess this card could be played in a spell heavy deck. The only problem is that if you run 2 of these, then it turns your other one into a chicken. Chicken is a 1/1, no effect. So yeah, it's poop. It is stats are awful, and its Battlecry is even worse. Even if it's like a 2-drop, I wouldn't run this. If this was a 0-drop, I probably would not run this card. That's how bad the effect is. Because minions are the focus of Hearthstone, and getting rid of them, it's awful. I think the chicken gets played directly onto the board, however, which is there's like a tiny little upside, which isn't actually upside, and it's bad. In Arena, this card is equally bad. Nothing more to say about this card. It rates like a 1 out of 10, if that. Okay, next we have Goblin Sapper. It's a 3 cost, 2/4. Has +4 attack while your opponent has 6 or more cards in hand. 2/4 is decent stats. Not as good as a 3/3, but it trades with 2 cost minions very well. And its effect is good against control, bad against aggro, very good against handlock, if handlock is even a thing after Goblin's Gnome comes out. But I don't know how often that's going to come into effect, and if you're going anti-control, why run it in the first place? But, you know, it's just kind of slow, I guess. I know, it's hard to say. It's because it's really hard to really judge how often your enemy is going to have 6 cards in hand. Is an enemy going to have 6 cards in hand at 3 mana? Maybe, if they drew really badly. Even like a control deck generally runs something by the time you get to 3 mana. Paladin is one of the exceptions. You generally don't play anything until 3 mana. Like, you play a Harvest Golem. Sometimes not even that. Sometimes just recruit. Quartermaster, woo! Maybe. But yeah, Goblin Stepper, hard to say. Could be decent. In Arena, it's decent just because the stats are decent, and it could be good. Technically, possibly good. So yeah, it's an alright card, I think. Alright, Illuminator. 3 mana, 2/4. If you control a secret at the end of your turn, restore 4 health to your hero. It's a strange card. Stats are the same as Goblin Sapper, so stats are alright. But how often are you going to want to heal from a secret? I guess mages. Mages is the only class I can see currently that would want secrets, that want health from secrets. You could put Ice Block up and then throw this up, and then you get a +4 health every turn. It's similar to the Shaman New Totem, which heals you for 4 at the end of every turn, except you need a secret. So you just keep this around, and you get health every turn. I should mention that it's only if you have a secret, not 2 secrets. So say you had 2 secrets, you still only get +4 health. Thing is, more secrets can be added in the future. Maybe it'll become a better card then. Maybe Paladin will get better secrets. Ooh, I don't think so. Because it's only one. They have to be 1 mana, and 1 mana just isn't good enough for anything really. We'll see. Maybe, but yeah, I can't see this being running too much constructed. In Arena, I think it might be alright because people actually run secrets. Paladins run secrets even, so it could be alright. The stats are alright, so I think it's slightly below average, but it's alright. So, yeah, it's alright.